Hi everybody, and welcome to my first vlog of 2021. And I haven't got too much to say really. I just wanted to say hi to everybody, and I felt that I was just going to pan the camera around my studio, such as it is. I know lots of people show you their space for creating art, and also their space for creating content, and some of the cameras that they use, and I'll talk about some of those. I've got a fair few cameras that I've sort of enjoyed, both for filming in other places, but they have been adopted into the system that I've got for filming in here. Now the space that I've had has the space I've had in the past as regards to studios has been such a huge variety. I've had some marvelous places to paint in all my career, different times, different houses, different studios outside of the house. I've been guest at many establishments to become an artist in residence over the years. That's been fantastic, in painting in other places as well. And for the last, since 2011, I've had a gallery in my local town of Hythe, and that gallery has served me well. It's also been a marvelous place to paint and create originals, as well as do all the other things that one does in a gallery. And since lockdown, of course, that's meant that it's been closed at different times throughout 2020, and as we go into 2021, it's also remaining closed. So it's one of the reasons why I really started pushing my art channel on YouTube, as well as my Patreon. I had actually made that decision before lockdown. Back in 2019, I really had this channel on YouTube for so long, so many years, and I actually done absolutely nothing with it, to be quite honest with you. And I felt that it would be nice to actually create now. And so I started doing it with a view to doing one video each and every week. And then lockdown came upon us all at different times, different places around the world. And so I had to reinvent what I was doing. And it meant to say that where I've been painting at home here at sometimes, and down in my studio gallery in Hythe, that had to be shut down, had to be mothballed. And I had to rethink how I created art in one space. Now this room, my little studio here at home, is only an 8x10 room, and when I first started creating, it was very haphazard. It shared space with so many other things, and it's crazy. And over time, my son was quite instrumental, and my wife very instrumental, in telling me to get organized. And I sort of spent a lot of money on tech and camera bits and lighting and a bit of audio, trying to sort of create the benefits of creating better content for people out there to watch. I must admit, my first ever efforts were quite crude. And good afternoon, my name is Paul Apps. I'm an oil painter. Well, I paint in lots of medium. Probably there's still a long way to go. I sort of keep trying to learn a little bit more as I go, and sort of figure out some other aspect of filming, some other little inclusion here, some little way of doing something in the editing programs that I use. And so I sort of evolve this space. Now this space, and I will show you at different points during the course of this natter that how it looks, but you'll see from the footage that I've shown you that it isn't very big. 8x10 is never going to be very big, and the thing is that I felt that I wanted to show you that. But it's amazing how much I've got in here by putting all my shelving behind the cameras for all my art equipment, and a very long table across the widest part of the room. I've been able to have a great workbench. I have a second tier that is showing all of my tech can sit on that, out of the way of the actual creating table, if for want of a better word. And for a long time I had been sitting and creating at this table, and I still have those little homemade pieces of board with lips on them and a little slant to them. They sit on the table, nice height, and I can sit and film. And I've got cameras above me, in front of me. I've got one that works and comes down on my palette, whether I'm painting in oils or whether I'm painting in watercolor or even pastels or anything else. All color pencils come to that. And I have one that comes down here on the artwork. Now I sit at this desk all the time creating, or I'm sitting over there behind me and I'm editing. I don't seem to move out of this chair that I'm sitting in right now. And when I'm painting outside, when I'm doing plein air, which is something that we haven't been able to really do in lockdown at all, so I've missed that. I've missed getting my easels out, whether it's watercolor or whether it's my oil kit. I've got two or three, well, I've got several kits actually, but my main oil and my main watercolor kits have remained in the garage, out of the sight, not being used, and I miss that. But when I am outside painting, I stand to create. I never sit down. I don't take a stool along with me. I prefer to stand at the easel, create an oil painting, create a watercolor, and I have different kits that allow me to do that. I have an almost upright easel. Well, I have several oil kits, to be quite honest with you, in that regard. Open box M, just to name one, but I've got, I think, about 20 odd different boxes, to be quite honest with you. A bit manic when it comes to collecting painting pochades and sort of kits to go out and paint plein air. I've got so many, a lot of them from America. I love them to bits. I wouldn't trade one for anything else. They all get used at different times. I've gone off topic, I've gone off subject, but what I was trying to get to was the fact that when I stand, it's much better for my own posture and concentration and all those things. And I've actually got out of the habit of that until recently. I did see a video by a gentleman, and I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. I'm sure he doesn't, but a gentleman called Andrew Pitt, and he has a lovely little watercolor channel, well worth looking and checking out. But he just happened to mention how he created his little setup in his studio to paint as though he were painting outside. And I thought, you know, that guy's got a point. I ought to be doing the same thing, because sitting down is not the best way to keep painting day in, day out, especially when you're creating so much editing work because of that on the other side of this room, and I'm sitting for a further God knows how many hours creating edits for the films I've just sat and filmed. So I changed that, and you'll see this lectern. I can't show you it from this side of the camera, but the footage will show this lectern I've built recently. It sits at 30 degrees, and I can create by standing up, and I've got a camera which is over the top of me now. I've got several layers. I've got a one that sort of sets it down lower, and I've got the one that's higher, and I've got the position as such that I can create work. And I've raised the area of the palette too, and that also is on a box. The pastels, I can create pastels and oils on my upright easel over to my right hand side here, and that's great because I have two camera positions, one here and one over the other side of the room, where I can move these cameras around quite easily. They're only on clamps, and those clamps cost very, very little money. I'll try and find out some of the bits and pieces of information, and I'll put them in the comment section underneath this video, so that I'll give you a list of the cameras that I use and the joints and the connections that I've got, and so hopefully that'll help you. And my lighting too has changed over the time I've created. I had videos with these great big round sort of umbrella-y type lights. You know, they're really, I mean, they're fine, there's nothing wrong with them, but I wanted dimmable. I wanted sort of lights that I can maneuver on the temperature, but also I wanted some that took up much less room. They're really imposing in such a small space. So what I did is I bought these two LED panel lights, slightly more expensive, but they really are the business, and I've got them fixed up towards the ceiling but not to the ceiling, and that was a nice thing. I will show you in the footage that I actually created some brackets into the wall just like a bookshelf, and I put some timbers coming off of those on each side, and then at the same time I then pinned the brackets to a longer piece of wood so the brackets can move this way, and side to side, so nothing is fixed. There's no destruction to the ceiling, and if I want to move all of this out, I've just got a couple of screw holes where the shelving bracket once stood. So that really is quite a win-win and fantastic. But as I say, I've got every conceivable piece of art material that I own pretty much in this space. As all my plein air kits are out the way, they don't need to occupy this space. But I can from this one position, standing up or sitting, and it will be standing up from here on in, I've got to say. But I can do a pastel, I can do color pencil, I can do acrylic, oils, watercolors, crayon, charcoal. All of these things I can do here. It's all behind me, and all my canvases, my boards are all neatly stashed under there. Some more of my plein air kits that aren't actually in use at the moment, they're all under there too. So although it's a small space, it is uniquely set up so that I can sort of touch and grab anything. And this very long table that you see allows me I do hate that every time. I do try and stop these notifications coming in. They do keep coming in. Very annoying. Anyway, over that. This very, very long table allows me to have, if I wanted to, all my pastels out each side of me so I can create, and I can put them away, and you'll see those in the footage just to one side, and then I've got space for anything else that I want to do. So it has taken pretty much a year to do things, modify things, and I say I ripped it all out halfway through last year and built this whole system. I built the table, and I built the shelving, and I built this table and the shelf bracket are literally, they can be taken away. They are as one piece, and they could come out and they could go to another room or another building. So it's a standalone unit, and that's great because it just affords me so much. And under that shelf I can actually stash lovely bits of paper, whether it be for color pencil, whether it be for oils or watercolor. So all of that space is utilized, and you know, everything's got its own little place, and I'm so grateful to that because I can literally spin around, and with one quick kick over with the chair and my feet, I'm back there on the editing, and I can start playing around with the footage that I've done. So it really is a very compact area, and I love it. And that's where I spend most of my life, I think, right now, because if I'm not creating art, I'm talking about it to you guys, or I'm over there editing it for my Patreon or YouTube, whichever it happens. But I've really had a lot of fun, and I continue to do so, and I just wanted to talk about that. And something else that sort of cropped up lately is the fact that when I first started, I set up to do just one video a week on the channel, and I have done that every Friday, and it was at 3:30. Now it's back to 3 o'clock. Every Friday I put out a new video. And then when lockdown, and actually I've got to say that I've never actually missed a Friday yet, touch wood. But then when lockdown first happened, I started streaming on a Monday and a Friday, but the Friday one was mainly for my patrons. And that Friday one continues today, so that's no problem. But as of this week, I sort of been thinking about it a long time. Now I decided that the reasons that I started streaming back in the first lockdown have actually changed now. I did it because I wanted to reach more people, and I also did it to grow my channel to a point where it would be able to be monetized, and then hopefully move forward from there. It achieved both of those things, but it hasn't since that time in a year, it hasn't actually sort of done a lot more, and I wanted it to do a lot more than it's done. I wanted it to reach a bigger audience, and it seems that apart from a very faithful few people that follow me each week on there, and a lot of them are my patrons too, it wasn't actually growing. So I don't know whether that's something I was doing, something I wasn't doing. I really don't know, but I decided that that Monday evening was a very precious bit of time, and I felt that I would rather stop doing the streams, which do take an awful lot of effort to paint live, think about everything, get it all set up, ready to go, advertise and all the rest of it. I felt that I could utilize that Monday evening, still film, still create something, and at the same time I could put more out to my Patreon and more out to YouTube in the form of maybe quicker how-tos and one thing. And that's why on my last video I asked the question of people, what do they like to see? Do they want the really long ones, medium long, or very short? And I've got a few ideas from people from that, and I appreciate everybody who's commented on that. It does help me to make better decisions. And at the end of the day, the whole thing that I'm doing, I mean, I really have all my time enjoyed creating art and teaching others to how to create art and further their experiences of painting. And that's sort of gone on to where I want to reach more people. I've done it physically, I've done it in the physical world for so many years, but I can only teach so many people each week, and I really wanted to teach so many more. And I felt that YouTube was the best way to do that in the future, just to go out there, create work, create content, put it on YouTube, and more recently on my Patreon, and help others and inspire others around the world, as many as I can reach out to. And I sort of look at all the different ways that people tell you how to do this, how to do that on YouTube to get more people involved and more subscribers. I do my utmost. I'm not brilliant at it, but I do my utmost to adhere to some of those things and to help boost my channel. So, you know, that's why I keep asking people every video to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon and do all those things, because I know that if I can keep doing that, and if I can raise the profile of the channel, eventually it will be that so many people get so much more from me, and I can reach so many more people. And that, I'm sorry about that. I have no idea what went wrong then, but my I've got a gimbal which does all the sort of headshots that I do, and it just keeps going off for some reason. I have no idea. So if you're watching this and you're out there and you understand all about the DJI gimbal, the smaller one of the two, and why it will just keep going beep 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 and going off, I would love to hear from you. And what else can I say? Well, not a lot really. I just will finish up by saying that I think that's what I was saying. I just sort of realized what it was I was saying. I was talking about the fact that I really love to create for other people around the world, and I've got so involved with creating work and trying to help others and this year I decided that I wanted to create so much more for my patrons, and to build my Patreon, and to build my YouTube channel. At the moment it's actually on just under 3,000 subscribers, which compared to where it was a year ago, it's fantastic. I know it's a baby channel compared to some of the guys out there, with anybody with over sort of 10,000, 20, 30,000, and I think there's one, well, I know there's one lady with over 1 million. So that's fantastic. I'm not sure I'm going to get to those dizzy heights, but I'd love to get way out there, so that, because if I do, then I know I'm reaching more people, and I know that more people like what I do and the way that I teach and the way I sort of create work and pass that over. So I think I've been rambling enough in this vlog anyway. I'll show you a little bits and pieces. I'll try and remember and put a small list under the details of all the video equipment that I use, as well as the audio and other bits and pieces. My editing suite, if it's of any interest, is Final Cut Pro 10. I've been using that since 2012, and although again I've never given it a test, I have been learning a lot more with it from the myriad of people that give you information on YouTube. There are so many out there doing it for all the editing suites, all the pro suites, and I'm really grateful, because I'd be lost without their help half the time. But it does mean to say that I am learning all the time, not just by painting and creating art, but also on the technical side of things, and trying to deliver you guys a better product at the end of the day. I love it, and I just love my little space. I just love the fact that this little area, this little 8x10 area, holds everything, literally everything. It holds all my art supplies, all my editing supplies. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have much bigger space. Of course I would, because I could go from one area to another. But, you know, that means to say that I've got to keep pulling the cameras everywhere I go. So it's so much easier just to sit here and get my watercolours out if I want to do a watercolour, or my oils out if I want to do a watercolour, on oil. Caught me on that one. And it's just so much easier, and that way all the statics for the cameras work very well. And if I'm working over there, then I can just move the cameras, angle one up on there and one up the other side, as a recent pastel that is going to come out in the next week on YouTube, so watch out for that. There's a pastel snow scene that will come out on this Friday coming, I hope, and if not the following Friday, but hopefully this Friday. And that will show two angles that I use to film that up on that easel there. So I'm looking forward to that and see the response to that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing, and hopefully people will pick up on the idea. And for those of you who watch my Monday night live stream and will miss that, I do really apologize. I had to make a decision, and I just needed that time to put out there and do more for my patrons and more for my YouTube generally than the Monday night live stream was actually delivering. And you never know. I mean, I get bored with my own company, I'll do another live stream and I'll notify everybody, and you can enjoy that as and when it may happen. So I'm not writing them off altogether. I'm just literally saying for the foreseeable future, I'm concentrating elsewhere. And that leads me to my last point of all, because I have a question for each and every one of you, is about diluting what I do. Now, as an artist, I'm more than adept at painting in any media. I love watercolor, oil. Those were my first two. Pastels came along very quickly after that. I've always demonstrated for some of the big companies oils and acrylics too, and over the last 25 years or so. So no medium sort of causes me worry or scares me. I'm quite happy, and that's why I enjoy teaching so much, because even though the medias may change, so the some of the rules appertaining to painting and creating don't change. They are cross media, so that's what makes it so important. And the thing is that I can only create so many videos in a week, and if I do tons of medium, which I do, anything from color pencil, oil, watercolor, acrylic, and pastel, charcoal, drawing, all these things, it means to say that if I was to go through that as a rota, I would literally, it would be 7 weeks before you saw the second watercolor or the second pastel or the second oil. And therefore it's a dilution that not enough people out there will keep coming back to say, oh, I wonder what watercolor he's doing this time, or I wonder what oil he's doing this time. So there's an awful lot of debate goes on with those in the know, those people who put out how to boost your subscribers, how to do this on your channel. Each and every one of them talk about niching, down and concentrating your efforts. And I get that now. I didn't see it before, but I actually get it now. And it means to say that I have come up with the idea now, then I will niche my channel down, not to doing colored pencils and pastels and stuff. I love it and I shall miss doing that. But I feel that if I just concentrate on doing oils and watercolor, nothing else, and as subject matter, I'm going to concentrate on landscape and wildlife, which I'm known for. And so two elements. So there'll be landscape and watercolors, oils in watercolors, wildlife in watercolors, wildlife in oils. And hopefully I can interest enough people to get involved with my channel and enjoy my channel and keep coming back for more, knowing that they haven't got to wait so many weeks before another one of XYZ comes along. It's sad that I can't have a multi-platform channel in as much as I can create a pastel, an oil and all these other things, but I do understand that by doing so I'm not creating enough of any one type of thing to interest enough of you guys and girls to come in, subscribe to the channel and get involved with what I'm doing. So the other decision, apart from cutting out the Monday live stream, was actually to niche the channel down to just 2 mediums in future. That will also be on my Patreon too. My Patreon has all of its levels. It has 2 films every month going on, fully narrated. It also has a Friday night live stream every Friday, and to that end it's all about oils and watercolor. And so if you're a pastelist, you may not want to get involved. If you are a color pencil person, you may not want to get involved, and I understand that. I wouldn't expect you to. I will throw on a sort of stream night on a Friday night, once in a while I may throw a colour pencil in, I may throw a pastel in, but not enough generally. It's just to satisfy those that like that sort of thing. But so my Patreon will be oils and watercolour, it'll be landscape, and it will be wildlife, the same as my YouTube channel. So with that all said and done, I think I've probably talked me to death. I've talked you guys to sleep, I'm sure. And thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for taking the trouble to, well, that's indeed if you're still watching at this part of the video, but if you are, thanks very much for sticking with me through this video. I do ramble a bit, I know, and I've got to learn to script and use that new auto cue to much greater advantage, which I will try and do. It's one of those things, it's another step in the evolution of the efforts that I'm creating when I create and film content, is to try and do something a little bit better each time that I create something. So with that all said and done, everybody please stay safe out there, happy painting, yeah, what else? Catch you all in the next one. I don't know what it's going to be. I know that I'm going to get this video on the snow out this week or next week. So watch that on a Friday. I'm going to try now, because Monday is now free, to create more things that you guys can enjoy and get involved with and learn something from. So you'll get a little bit more each than just one video. But I'll also do some more vlogs. If I'm not putting you all to sleep and boring you all, I will put some more vlogs together over this year and hopefully keep people interested. I just wanted to show you around my space too. So with all that, I'm going to say cheerio now, and I'm going to crack on with some painting, and yeah, see you all soon. See you on the next one. As I said just now, stay safe, happy painting. Bye bye everybody, take care, bye bye. The sun goes down.